From Learfield on the Mustangs Sports Network, this is the Pony Express Show with head coach Rhett Lashley, presented by SMU Cox School of Business, your ally for life. Visit coxgrad.com to learn more. Now at Ozona Grill and Bar on Greenville Avenue, here is your host, Rich Phillips.
Good evening and welcome to another week of the Pony Express Show with Rhett Lashley. I am Rich Phillips. Happy to have everyone here with us tonight at Ozona Grill and Bar, as well as those of you joining us on the SMU Mustangs Facebook page. Got a couple of guests here before we bring the head coach up. And first up tonight, let's welcome in SMU defensive end Elijah Roberts. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm good.
What's up?
We've been sitting up here chatting for a couple of minutes before the show, and that was a different way to do it Saturday night, huh?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was, but, a win is a win, so for sure.
Absolutely. A win's a win no matter what. Did you think it was going to happen with about a minute left?
I mean, I never know what to think going into a game, honestly, but that game was crazy. Up until the fourth quarter, up until Fari jumped the guy and blocked the field goal, I didn't know what to think. So I'm really just happy that we got out of there with a win, honestly.
Tell us about that play. Jafari Harvey, one of the most athletic plays of the season, I would say, to hop right over and then hop right into the field goal. Tell us about that.
For sure, man. Pretty sure you guys heard it 5 times already, but Coach Tibbs and Coach Horney, they, put in that play from, I think they started from an NFL game, actually. So we put it in, I think we go over special teams like that Thursday, that Friday or something like that, and then I think we probably practiced it one time, and then it came true on Saturday. So. Yeah.
Did you try to volunteer for that duty?
Oh yeah, of course, man. I asked because they put it in, and it was like jump left and jump right. I'm like, okay, like jump left. As far as side, jump right, I'm thinking it's going to be my side. And they're like, oh, not far, you're going to do both sides. I'm like, dang, coach, like, you could have put me in for one of them. But
they had no faith in you, huh?
No, Fari's the right guy for the job, obviously.
I mean, that is a crazy athletic play. Not only the first jump, but then he timed the second one perfectly, too. That's no easy thing to time that second jump either, is it?
Yeah, no, of course. Like, I honestly think he's probably the only one on the D-line who could have made that play, honestly. So it's grateful to have him, grateful to have Coach Tibbs and Coach Horney to put that play in, man, for sure.
Turnovers, of course, were the name of the game on Saturday night. There's no way around it. 6 turnovers. Duke scored 0 points on 6 turnovers in that game, including 3 straight in the fourth quarter.
Crazy.
What's that say about the job you guys were doing on the defensive side?
Man, I didn't even know that until Coach Tibbs told us on, like, Monday or Tuesday or something like that. So, that just goes to show you, man, like how deep we are on defense, how mature we are as a defense, because, it's easy to put your head down after a turnover, start pointing fingers, start blaming each other, but we got such a mature defense and such a, like even the coaching staff, they believe in us. So just having that, I felt like, it doesn't matter how many times we have to go back out there, sudden change situation. It is what it is. We're ready for it. So
it goes both ways. It's mature offense here too,
yes, sir.
And I'm sure if if things aren't going right on defense, you guys see it for the offense, right?
Yeah, of course. There's been games this year where offense picked us up, and there's been games this year with defense, vice versa. So our whole team's mature. We got a lot of older guys on the team, and it's been going great.
You had 10 sacks last year, your first year here at SMU. Only 3 this year. Mm-hmm. You upset about it?
I mean, obviously, personally, but still got some game left, a lot of football left, so let's see if we can get it up for sure.
But you are, according to Pro Football Focus, number 1 among FBS players in quarterback pressures. I believe 33 is the number that I saw the other day.
So,
you're getting there, just not getting there. Is it frustrating that you're that close so many times?
No, of course. Having a lot of pressures obviously is, it's a great accomplishment, but I'm trying to turn those pressures into sacks, so that's all I'm really trying to do right now.
Are you being played a little differently this year than you were last year?
No. I mean, if it is different, it's better, if you ask me. I mean, I've been able to play all around the line since I've been here, from a Sam in the goal line package, from an end to a 3 technique. So it's been great. Being in this defense is honestly showing my talents and being able to, show what I could do all around the D-line for sure.
Are the offenses playing you differently?
A little bit, but it's good for me. It's good for the D-line. Honestly, it's allowed us to show our depth as a D-line from the interior to the bandit position, even the guys who are behind me, like the Cam Robinson. So having that depth across the whole D-line has been good.
Yeah, Cam got your spot last week, right? He moved in at tackle on one of those pass rush situations. He stole your sack is what he did.
Nah, man, Cam works hard, so he worked hard for that sack this week, man. He deserved it.
Across the board, the sack numbers aren't what they were last year, but last year was the second best in school history, by the way. But they're picking up lately. You've got 10 over the last 3 games. Are you guys still overall, not just you, but overall seeing the pressure rate that you want and expect out of your group?
We always watch the games and always say that we could be better. So that's kind of our mindset, even going into this week, just trying to be better. Sack count, pressure count, whatever that may be. So just being able to have a mature group and knowing that our best game hasn't even happened yet, that's kind of what we're striving for.
It's not all about rushing the passer, although I'm sure that's the most fun you get to have up there.
Yes,
but stopping the run is critical. Number 1 in the ACC, number 5 in the NCAA, stopping the run this year. What's the mindset like collectively as a group to not let them run on you?
That's nice. I didn't even know that, but we talk about that all the time, just stopping the run, winning the run game on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. And obviously, I'm not sure what our offensive numbers are, but I'm pretty sure it's up there. So
they are
having a good run game on both sides of the ball it can take you a long way.
Controls the game, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
The team we're going to see on Saturday, big one Saturday with an undefeated Pitt coming here. They've got a pretty good running back. They got a quarterback, big, who can run too, and Eli Holstein, their second leading rusher. What's the challenge you see on film from Holstein?
He's a good player. He's tough. He can run the ball. He can beat you with his arm. The O-line is good. The running back, he has some juice. He can run. They got good receivers. They got receivers who spread it around. So the offense, holds challenges, and that's why, they're undefeated. So.
Their running back, Desmond Reed, he's small.
Yeah.
Does he get lost back there sometimes?
Man, he's very explosive on film, man. Like, you could watch film and you could definitely see why he gets so many touches and why they try to feed him the ball. He's a really good player.
You guys got to be happy to finally be back home. It's been over a month since you played at Ford Stadium, and not only being at home, but the crowds we saw in September, that's got to really have you guys excited to get back here Saturday night.
Oh, yeah, of course, man. Just even from the road games that we had, like, our fans have been traveling so well. So even having, like, fans on the road games, I could just imagine how this game is going to be Saturday night.
And as I said, big one. Both teams in the top 25. Pitt 7-0. You guys 7-1, 4-0 in the league. How do you guys stay focused? There's a lot more big things that could be down the road here, obviously, conference-wise and beyond. How do you guys stay focused on one just this Saturday night?
Just not looking ahead, not looking back either. It's easy to look ahead and go on social media and you see so many things. But like I said before, we got a mature group, not even just D-line, from the whole defense and the whole offense. So just having that kind of leadership on the team, I don't think it's hard for us to not get caught up on what's ahead and what we've done already. I think it's easy for us to just lock in each week because we know, like, any given week you could lose. So that's kind of our mindset.
All right, well, next time you get to do the hop ride, okay?
Nah, we'll let Fari do that. We'll leave it to Fari.
Let's hope we don't have to depend on that again. How about that?
Yes, sir,
Let's do that.
Of course.
All right, Elijah, appreciate you coming in here tonight. Let's hear for Elijah Roberts joining us here this evening. This is the Pony Express Show with Rhett Lashley. We do it Wednesday night, 7 o'clock here at Ozona Grill and Bar. We'll have our Ask the Coach segment coming up here a little bit later. You can submit questions with our staff here on site. Up next, we'll talk more about the defensive line with assistant coach Calvin Thibodeau here on the Pony Express Show with Rhett Lashley. Welcome back here to the Pony Express Show with Rhett Lashley. Rich Phillips with you here on Wednesday nights at Ozona Grill and Bar. This Saturday night, it's SMU and Pitt, 7 o'clock at Ford Stadium. TV-wise, it'll be on the ACC network. I'll have it on 96.7 and 1310 The Ticket, as well as Sirius XM Channel 193 and the SMU app as well. So be sure you tune in for that. We might get a little more excited about things like blocked field goals and game-winning touchdowns on the radio broadcast. Joining us now, let's welcome in the SMU defensive line coach, Calvin Thibodeau. How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself, Rich?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, it is.
I've been involved in a lot of college football. You've been involved in a lot of college football, going back 20 years since your playing days.
Yes, sir.
Ever seen an ending like that?
No. But I tell you what, the belief was strong amongst the team, so that was great to see.
28-27, of course, was the final score Saturday night in the win against Duke. There were obviously struggles on offense, but the defense kept plugging away. And we talked about it there with Elijah. No points off those turnovers. Did you guys feel some extra pressure to have to bow up, especially down the stretch in that fourth quarter?
You know, honestly, no extra pressure. We wanted to play to our standard, and it was kind of weird because we didn't feel like we were playing to our standard, but we felt like we were just – having perseverance, just playing the next play. We weren't like being fans and being up and down. We had to, keep an even composure, and we made every play count.
We're kind of like fans, and we're up and down on the radio side, so it kind of wears us out. You're running about 8 deep on your defensive line and your rotation regularly. What's that competition like within the guys in that group?
Well, I think you got to have competition. You got to be able to have some depth. And when I say depth, you roll guys, and the guys that go in there, they're not just running a call. They can actually make a play. So, we feel strong about our depth, and that's what's kind of helped us get to this point.
3 new starters that came out of the portal, of course. Tank Booker at the nose, Jared Harrison-Hunt, Jafari Harvey, who we saw with a big block on Saturday night. What have those 3 guys added to your group in the defensive line?
Just, P5 experience. They carry themselves like pros. They've helped us, continue to create a standard for our room, for our defense, for our team. These guys have played P5 football, and to have those guys come in and adjust to our culture has been really awesome for our group.
Tank's a guy who, first game of the season, of course, gets a huge safety at Nevada. Got a touchdown, too, later. At one point, he was, tied for second or third on the team in scoring early in the year. Sometimes you look at the stat sheet, you think, well, he's been quiet.
Right.
But he's a nose tackle. Isn't that kind of what his job is?
Yeah, so he's, you talked about stopping the run. His job is, get us to third down. He's the big unmovable object. He's 340-plus pounds, and, his job is to take on 2. And sometimes you don't see that in statistics, but, he's hard to move. And, when you build it inside out, the backers are going to be better. The safeties are going to be better because they can't run downhill. So we love what he does. He embraces his role, and, we're excited about him.
Jafari Harvey displayed tremendous athletic ability on the blocked field goal. When did you guys know you had that?
I don't know if we knew we had it. It's really a credit to Casey. He does a great job with our special teams. He's seen some things on tape, and he put it in, and the rest is history. I was on Instagram, and I seen one of the field goal blocks, and when I see a good sack, I send it to my D-line group. I seen that field goal block, and I sent it to him, and he gave me the thumbs up, and I looked up, he was installing it, and I didn't think much of it, but I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
Yeah, of course, that's Casey Horney, who is the assistant special teams coach, works with the kickers too.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot to that, though. He can't run at the line, right?
No.
And you can't touch anybody, right?
Right. We were asking questions during the timeout to make sure, so we didn't want to get a great block and then you see a yellow flag. We checked all those boxes, and we executed the way we needed to.
I talked about this, of course, with Elijah a few minutes ago. The sack numbers, not the same as they were last year. And, again, they were near record numbers in SMU history last year. But the pressure rate, that's where you guys are still getting it done, right?
Yeah, there's more than one way to affect the quarterback. Tips, overthrows, moving a guy off his spot. It all goes hand in hand. You look at the sack numbers, and you also look at the turnover ratio. Sometimes those numbers are, connected. So, we're doing a great job with takeaways and We just, it ain't about just one thing. It's about winning, and right now that's happening for us.
Sam Dunham was with us a few weeks ago on the show. He's been added as your edges coach here.
Yes.
What has he brought to the staff? A good young guy coming into this group,
too. Yeah, he's a stud, man. He's great at his craft. He works really hard, and the guys have really bought into what he continues to bring to the staff. He's energy, enthusiasm, and really a great teacher of the game.
Still a lot to play for with these Final Four games starting Saturday night when Pitt comes in. How focused are all of the guys on Saturday and Saturday only?
It's hard not to be focused when you turn on the tape. They're explosive. They go really fast. They haven't lost a game. They're big up front. Their skilled guys are very explosive. We got our work cut out for us. But I tell you what, we're excited about it.
I know players are looking forward to being back at home. Coaches too. I mean, this has been a lot of fun. Those games we played at home in September.
Whether it's on the road, it's just making the most of the next opportunity. It doesn't matter where the game is. Put the ball down and let's find out what's what.
Well, let's put the ball down Saturday night at 7 o'clock and get it done. How about that?
There it is.
All right, Calvin Thibodeau, defensive line coach, thanks for joining us here tonight on the Pony Express Show with Rhett Lashley, and we will talk to the head coach of the 20th ranked Mustangs coming up next. Welcome back here at Ozona Grill and Bar to the Pony Express Show with Rhett Lashley. We do it every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. While next week is a bye week for games, we will still have a show, so please come join us here next Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. And let's welcome in the head coach of the 20th ranked SMU Mustangs this week, Rhett Lashley.
Sounds good. Top 20.
Yeah.
Top 20 showdown at Ford Stadium this week.
How about
Should
that?
Should be fun. Great to be back at Ford Stadium.
Have to see if I can find my way. Got to get a map out for that. So
our guys are going to be trying to go get on a plane Friday, and we're going to have to tell them we don't have to do that.
I'm glad. We don't have to go
Me
one
too.
coast or the other.
No more red eyes. We're good with that.
Thank goodness for that. I always try sometimes, especially a game like Saturday, as wild as that ending was, I have to collect myself for a few minutes before we get ready to do the post game. And at first I was thinking, well, maybe I'll ask Coach and say to him, well, I'm not sure you deserve to win that one. No, I'm not going to fire that one off at him. I went back and listened today, and it took you 3 seconds to say you weren't sure that we deserved to win that one.
That's how it felt. Yeah, that's how it felt.
That was one of the more unusual endings. I've never seen an ending like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, you act like you had a lot of those games. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Yeah, in the moment, that's just being honest and raw. You turn it over 6 times, particularly 3 times in your last 3 drives of regulation in your own territory in a tie game. It's hard to argue that you deserve to win. I could sit here and tell you that, and I think our defense will be the first to tell you, we got up 21-7, and we allowed them to go on back-to-back long touchdown drives. Yep. They're not happy with that. Offensively, that was the number 1 defense in the country in tackles for loss. They were averaging right at 10 a game. We only had 2 the whole game.
Yep. That
was the number 1 third down defense in our league and one of the top 5 in the country. It's like 23%. We were 50% on third down. They were a top pass defense in our league, like 150 a game. We threw for 260. They were the top sacks defense in our league, 0 sacks. So you look at the stats and you go, we were doing the things we needed to do offensively to win the game, and then we turned it over 6 times. But also probably equally more impressive than our 6 turnovers was our defense gave up 0 points, as y'all have already mentioned. And in the moment, it was easy to say, I don't know if we deserve to win that game. Then looking at the film, I told our team on Monday, I said, no, you guys deserve to win that game. They did. Now, Duke could argue they deserved to win it, and I don't disagree with that. They played a great game, and that's what you think as a coach. It's hard. I mean, one team has to lose, and those guys played incredible on that side. But the way our guys played overall, pretty good, other than the 6 turnovers. And then more importantly, the way they responded in the fourth quarter, when there was many times, I know every fan of ours was already griping at me and figuring out why we lost, and our players, it's human nature. I mean, I took my headset off twice and handed it over.
I mean, with a minute to go, it's over, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing we could do to stop it till they got it down to kick it. And, whether it's forcing them to kick a long field goal, they missed it. Whether it's not letting them get 5 yards to be in field goal range the next time, whether it's blocking a kick, whether it's then scoring and then stopping a 2-point conversion, our guys had every chance to just do what we all felt and just say, it's just not our night. It's not our night, and they just kept playing, and that's a great lesson that doesn't guarantee you're going to win. But if you keep playing, you have a chance to do something special like we did.
Well, and the bottom line is winning players make winning plays at winning time.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of guys. Jafari Harvey, obviously, that may be the biggest of the winning plays because the rest don't happen without him.
Yeah.
Brashard's touchdown, the offensive line that opened the hole for him. And your defense, you mentioned the 2-point. Even your holder.
That was a great hold.
The snap was not good.
It was a great hold on our extra point. And, they had already missed one, so you can't take those for granted. No, I thought – to your point, our O-line, I thought, played really well. Again, 2 tackles for loss, no sacks, ran for over 200 yards. Tibbs was up here just a minute ago, and y'all recounted it, but our staff, our coaching staff was awesome. Our whole sidelines was calm because, when that stuff's happening, you feel the momentum, just like your fans do on the sidelines. You feel like I think I might have even said on the headset once, we turned it over again. You feel the momentum going against you. And our staff did such an awesome job of just what Tibbs just said. You just kind of play the next play. And then for him to, coaches are always learning, players are always learning, you're always learning, to him to see, okay, in the NFL, this is one thing they do. A lot of PAT field goal teams raise up like we do. I mean, they get big and they just kind of get ran over slowly and they get the kickoff. They have a unique scheme. So others do. Florida State, I think, had it, where they go down and they dig deep. And when you do that, you don't get knocked back. But when you do that, Jafari can jump over you.
Yeah.
So it worked.
Did you think it would work?
No, I mean, it's similar to a Hail Mary, right? Like you practice it.
It is.
Our staff, again, Tibbs' idea, got with Casey Horney and Kyle Cooper. They did work on it. It was kind of cool when we showed our guys. We kind of have a victory tape when we win on Mondays. We celebrate the victory, and we have 30, 40 clips of the game and some of it from practice and stuff, and we just have a good time before we move on. And right before we showed Farai's kick, we showed the scout team rep from practice, where Paris Patterson, our offensive lineman, did a great job of giving the exact look Duke did, and Jafari jumped over it and blocked it. To their point, we did it one time.
There you go.
And it's all we needed.
It's all you needed. And it was –
you don't know you're going to need it till you need it, and guess what? And in that moment, it was our best option.
It was. I didn't see what he did live either. I had to see the replay to see exactly what he did. But
it was actually more impressive, not that he jumped over without touching him, that he hit the ground and got back up so quick to be able to block it.
He blocked it with his wrist too.
Yeah.
He got up that high.
Yep.
You guys then in overtime go down, and Brashard Smith, the 24-yard touchdown run. They answered immediately with a touchdown pass. Were you surprised that they went for 2?
Not at all. No, Manny made the right decision. If it's in regulation, there's an argument. The way overtime used to be, there could be an argument. A lot of times you're at home. But the way overtime is now, they changed it a couple years ago. If you get the ball second in the first overtime and they score a touchdown and you score a touchdown, I need to be careful how I word this in case I ever don't do it. You almost always should go for 2. And you can have a feel to the game that tells you otherwise. Like maybe your defense has been really good or their quarterback's out or whatnot. But generally speaking, you got one play where you get to try to win the game on your terms. And that's the only guarantee you have, because we go to the next overtime, well, they got the ball first, and then we get it, and we both would have had to go for 2 anyways. And then the third overtime, that's all it is. So, we knew he was going to go for 2 if they scored, and they should have.
All right, well, let's talk about your quarterback. Kevin Jennings did throw for 258 yards and a touchdown, ran for 41 and another score. Obviously, really rough night for him with the 5 turnovers. No hiding from it. No, I mean, he'll be the first to tell you, he was really disappointed in the way that we were giving the football away. I think, he's had to answer questions since Saturday night. I have, and they're all fair questions. People, hey, what's wrong? There's nothing wrong with him. There's nothing wrong with him. He's a competitor in a big-time arena, and everybody has a bad night every now and then. And we've all that have competed in arenas like that have had those moments. He started 7 games in his career, 5 this year, and 6 out of 7 and 4 out of 5 this year are going to tell you that's not who he is. So that's what we're going to believe. He took a bit of a shot, too, on that last interception. How's he doing this week? He's really, like a lot of guys, not just our team. I'm sure Pitt's the same way in other teams. You're beat up going into your, our 9th game in week 11 since we started week 0. So there's some guys beat up, banged up, and bruised. That shot he hit on the interception that should have never been thrown was a violent one. Mm-hmm. And we're really, really fortunate. I mean, he got hit hard. It looked really bad. And then when I got over there, it didn't look good. And so it's kind of we're very, very fortunate that we think he's okay. And even to the point he was able to come back in the game. And he's been able to go through practice limited this week. The good thing for quarterbacks is they're non-contact every day in practice anyways. So, when you have guys that are injured, sometimes they're cleared to practice non-contact, and then they're cleared to and so he's been cleared to practice non-contact, and we're optimistic he'll be able to give it a go on Saturday, and I know he wants to, and there's nothing that tells us he won't. But, until we get the all clear, we're preparing for whatever we need to. But he's a tough dude, and just like a lot of other guys that are going to play on Saturday for us, they're beat up, but they're ready to go. Yeah, you talked, I know, about a few of these yesterday in your press conference. Let's start Justin Osborne. Obviously, he did not play much in the second half, if at all. What's his status going forward? Yeah, he's on track to play. I'd consider him questionable as well. Again, he's been, for an O-lineman in a red jersey, that's kind of interesting. But he's been out there a lot like Kevin. He went in a little bit in the second half. He was cleared to play, but he wasn't himself. Garen did a good job managing that. I thought Ben Sparks did a good job. And so he's played a lot of ball, and we're optimistic that he'll start the game on Saturday, but we won't know for sure till he gets reevaluated Saturday morning. But Jake Bailey. Yeah, Jake's probably the most severe, although he's getting better. When it happened in the game, we were worried he was probably done for the season, and that doesn't seem to be the case. So I would say he's the most doubtful of those questionable guys, but you never say never with a guy like Jake. But it does look like he will be back this year if he can't go Saturday, which is a positive. And I didn't see what happened to Stone Eby, but I know he was on the list, and that's a thin spot right now too. We're getting thin in a lot of places on offense, but that's okay. I mean, it's week 10 or week 11, game 9. And I think you saw that the other night. Guys just step up. I mean, Matt Hibner, you can't replace RJ. We're not trying to. Matt just go be Matt, and he has a career high in catches and plays really good. He played 70-something snaps. It's incredible. And Matt does a lot of things you don't see when he's not catching the ball that helps our offense be effective. I mean, Roderick Daniels, I'm serious. We're going to put him at offensive tackle again before he's out of here. So we can say he's played every position on the field. The guy hadn't taken a snap at receiver in a month. And at halftime, we just said, hey, you're going to go play – actually, in the middle of the second quarter, we said, hey, you're going to go play receiver right after Jay got hurt. He said, sure. And all he does is catch 2 catches for 150-something yards, but he did get caught, so y'all let him hear that. He did get caught on that one. It was a 72-yarder. That was at the start of the third quarter. Did you, at that point, fear – and, of course, then you're not able to punch it in from there. Did you fear it was the start of things headed the wrong way for you? Yeah. Thank you for avoiding the dialogue of why we didn't score. Let's move on. That's happened to me twice in my 17 career. The first time was my first year as an OC, and my wife and I learned a lot about our relationship that day. She's shaking her head over there because we won the game. Actually, I've won the game both times. We've gotten stood up first and goal at the 1. So if that tells anybody anything, hopefully it never happens again. But
she asked me why I did what I did after the game. I didn't handle it well, and I've grown a lot as a husband since then and learned the errors of my ways. But yeah, when that happened, you're human. And I'm assuming our fans definitely felt this way, players. But for just a quick second, now we're in the battle, so we don't dwell on it, but you go, uh-oh. Like, something like that happens, it's not good. And then, it can't happen, but it's not a violent penalty. They call a penalty for Savion pulling a player off the pile, which now instead of them having the ball backed up on their own 1 foot line, they're at the 15. Like, those things, it's a big swing.
Yeah, that's hidden yardage in there that
Yep.
give up right there. We talked some about it, but the 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter, all were in your end of the field too. And when your defense comes up with stands every single time, it's a lot of good work by the defense. It's a lot of living right by the defense too, I think.
Yeah, like I think, we played a really good first half. We gave up one explosive play they scored on. Played a really solid first half. Offensively, we fumble the ball inside the 5 in the first half, and we don't score at the 1 to start the second half. And yet, we find ourselves up 21-7. And then we gave up back-to-back long touchdown drives. Mm-hmm. But it's college football. They're a good team. And they were 6-1, just like they caused us to turn the ball over 6 times. And they score, and then they score. And now all the momentum and the whole place is on their side. It's 21-all. And then for us to go out and turn it over, they stop them. Turn it over, they stop them. Turn it over, they stop them, block the kick. Score, they score, stop the 2-point play. Like, if that's not a great example and lesson in just resilience and playing the next play. All those coaching jargons, people hate when we say it to a reporter or in here and say, hey, man, you just got to play the next play. Guess what? We just had to play the next play, and they kept doing it. And doesn't guarantee it's going to be successful, but it was.
I know of the turnovers, some of them you're trying to coach your quarterback especially. You can't do that, can't do that. How much of it is it's what Duke does, though? I mean, that's a lot of what they do.
It is, but it's what we do, and they didn't turn it over. So, the fumbles are what I don't have any grace for. I don't have a lot of patience or understanding for fumbles. You hold on to the football. Mm-hmm. If you carry it, you hold on to it. The interceptions, if I'm being honest, 2 of the 3 interceptions weren't careless. One was right before half, and we had just gotten a first down. There was 20-something seconds. Let's take a shot down the middle of the field. If we get a chunk play, maybe we can get in field goal range. And he just left the ball underthrown a little bit. And the guy made a great play. But if the ball's over the top, maybe Roderick makes the play. It had to have been a perfect throw. And he just underthrew it a little bit, and the guy made a play. The other one was on a 3rd down. He thought Roderick was going to come flat. Roderick went high. The guy dove and undercut it. Neither one are acceptable, but they're different than when you're rolling right and you throw all the way back across the field. Those are the things you can't do and hold on to the football. And it wasn't just him. I think Matt fumbled. I think Keyshawn fumbled and got back on it. We've had 2 really poor turnover games the last 2 weeks. Hasn't been indicative of who we've been, but at this point, in the short term, it's who we are, and we got to fix it.
Outstanding game for Brashard Smith. His 4th 100-yard game of the season. I thought this was his best performance. 26 carries, 117 yards, the 2 touchdowns. He had the winner, but I thought his first touchdown was his most impressive one of the year. That was being the hammer and not the nail there at the end of that play.
If the first touchdown wasn't the best example of players over plays, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Because the play didn't look real good. And all he did is from the 8 in, take care of 3 Duke players and score. And there's actually a still picture I saw after the game of him getting tackled by 2 guys at the 1, and you're going, it's not even physically possible to go from there to get into the end zone, and somehow he did. No, I thought it was his. I don't know if it was his best game. I thought it was his toughest game.
Yeah.
I thought it was his grittiest game because, 1, he carried it 26 times, which is a career high, and we knew we were going to have to. The game plan dictated you got to be patient. You got to run the ball. They struggle to stop the run. They're great at everything else. So let's run the ball, stay out of 3rd and long, and convert and do those things. And we were doing that until we would turn the ball over. But for him to do that, 26 carries, be tough, the run you talked about for a touchdown, he had a lot of other physical runs, obviously the game-winning run. I thought it was a really all-around good performance for him.
And no negative runs, again, against the best tackle for loss team.
That was the biggest deal, against them. That's their M.O. Obviously, we allowed turnovers to create that for them, but they create chaos and havoc on tackles for loss. And, to put that in perspective, against Stanford, we had our best game of the year with 11. They averaged 10 a game.
Yeah.
So, we did a lot of good things with our O-line and Brashard in that regard.
How many times have you called 50 run plays in a game?
Before. But our good number is usually 40, but 50 will work if it's what it takes.
And what's obvious, like you said, it's what the game called for with those guys.
Yep.
Well, it all adds up to 28-27 and a 7-1 record and 4-0 in the conference with a big showdown against Pitt coming up Saturday night, 7 o'clock at Ford Stadium. The Boulevard is back. Simplify your tailgate planning and upgrade your game day at the biggest SMU games this season. Full-service tailgates are selling fast. Contact Revel XP at 214-935-1683 or SMU at revelxp.com for more information. Again, it is 7 o'clock Saturday night, SMU and Pitt at Ford Stadium. We'll have the Pontiac pregame show 2 hours before kick at 5 o'clock right here on the SMU Mustangs Facebook page and also over at Armstrong Fieldhouse. You can come by and see us for that as well. And radio-wise on 96.7 and 1310 The Ticket. Time now for our Ask the Coach segment. It is brought to you by the Cox School of Business. We believe great business schools help build great careers. It's why SMU Cox School of Business introduces new programs for in-demand industries and invest in state-of-the-art facilities. And it's why our students achieve unprecedented career outcomes. Be a part of something great. Learn more at smu.edu/cox/Pony Express. First question up here tonight.
Kevin Knox in the house, as always.
As always.
Cox School of Business. And before you ask your question, I should have said, obviously Calvin Thibodeau, what a great job he does with our D-line. How about Elijah Roberts?
Yeah.
Is he not just the most incredible, refreshing young man you've ever seen? And he leads the country in QB pressures.
Amazing.
The country. So, and that just shows, obviously, the respect he deserves from other O-lines, that his sack numbers are technically down. But to lead the country, that's trust me, scouts are noticing.
Absolutely. All right, question here. The best defensive play of the game that wasn't Jafari Harvey's blocked field goal.
Who asked that? I need some time to stall. Okay, good. The best defensive play – well, let me make sure before I just take the easy answer. I'm going to have to say the two-point play, right?
Yeah.
By Smoke. Because here's what's cool about that. So Smoke got beat on the touchdown. And the very next play, he's the guy making the play to keep them from winning the game. And, again, that just goes back to you got to play the next play.
Yeah.
No matter what just happened, good or bad, you got to play the next play. And that's so hard to do because you think of it as a fan. When we watch a game as a fan, we get emotionally tied to what's going on. Play after play, we're up, we're down, and we're just emoting. You can't do that as a player. You can't do that as a coach. And for Smoke to be able to do that the next play, I think is special.
I got tired of number 4, too, Eli Pan.
He had a great game. We made him look really good. He's a good player, yeah.
Yeah, I think he had a lot to do with it, too.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Really good.
Yeah.
After a game like last week with the 6 turnovers, 5 from Kevin Jennings, how do you get him to regain his confidence?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, actually, because to one degree, he's never had a game like that. I've never had a game like that as a coach. And so, you do worry about that. You just got to – it's like anything in life. You got to look at what does the majority say? What is history? What does the trend say? The trend says he's a really good quarterback who's explosive and takes care of the football. The 4 games before, he had 2 total turnovers in 4 games. Mm-hmm. And everybody was raving about how well he was playing, and he was. And so, it can derail you, especially when you hear all the noise. People can't help about it. They're still talking about it on TV. We're talking about it here. That's all people do. Talk, like it's Wednesday. That was Saturday. But it's part of it. And so you have to go out and you have to prove that's not who you are. And I got full faith and belief in him. And guess what? He may turn it over Saturday night. Hopefully only once. But it may happen. Like, that's part of the game. And what you can't do is he can't go out there and play tentative and not to make mistakes. He's got to trust in who he is and what time and time again has proven who he is. And he's a winner. He's a good player. He's a confident player. And that's how I expect him to go play. That's how we're going to call the game. And we're going to trust him. And I know he believes in himself and his team. Most importantly, his teammates believe in him.
Next up, how much has Roderick Daniels Jr. stepped up as a leader on this team? He is, about 5 years in here, I think, now?
He's an old man.
He is.
He's an old man. I joke, I call him a Renaissance man. He can literally do it all. He does it with a team mindset at all times. He never once makes it about him. If you say, hey, man, you're going to play running back this week, he just goes into the running back room. Hey, man, you're going to play receiver this week. Hey, you're not going to start. Hey, you're going to start. Hey, he gets 2 touches. He gets 30 touches in a game. he is he's from Dallas. He's been here the whole time. You know, he's what you want to consist. He's the best example of what we want to build this program about. We want local kids to come to SMU, to never leave, to have incredible success, to get a great degree, to be a part of the SMU family. But for him to do that is just, I couldn't be more happy for him. And you asked the question about what kind of leader is he. He's the ultimate leader on our team because he's probably the toughest guy on our team. And he just, his presence, how he plays, how he carries himself just bleeds over to our team. And he's one of the few guys that either doesn't have to say anything or he can get in your face, and both times you're going to listen and pay attention.
And he really hadn't been practicing at receiver the last several weeks?
No.
Well, he didn't.
I mean, he's played it a lot since he's been
Sure.
here. He's also one of our smartest football players, like instinctively and both. So he knows. I mean, he probably knows the quarterback's reads. You know what I mean? And so probably better than a freshman do. So yeah. I mean, literally, Jake got hurt. They stopped the clock. We have a few plays later, and we're like, hey, Roderick, can we put you out? Yeah, I'm good. And he knew what to do. Like the touchdown play.
That slant and go was beautiful.
The slant and go. He hadn't run that in months.
Looked like
we repped it this week
week
with Jake Bailey and Carter Campbell. We didn't rep it with Roderick Daniels, but he goes in and so yeah, no, I mean he really hadn't played receiver.
Well,
in a while.
It didn't look like it.
No.
That's good. It's good. All right, there's our Ask the Coach segment for this week. Let's get to Meet the Enemy. It is brought to you by Ozona Grill and Bar right here on Greenville Avenue with the best patio in town and a happy hour from 4 to 7 every Sunday through Friday. Specials including free chips and salsa. Ozona Grill and Bar. Find your comfort zone. Saturday night, 7 o'clock, the Pitt Panthers coming to Ford Stadium. They're 7-0, 3-0 in the conference after a 41-13 win over Syracuse last week. I got some bad news for you. All they did was turn their opponent over with 5 interceptions.
They're feeling good in Pittsburgh right now.
3 pick sixes in the first half.
Yeah.
The first 3 possessions by Syracuse were all interceptions.
Yeah, no, that was impressive. And you know what most defenses do on a Friday night is they show a clip of their opponent and their poor ball security and all their turnovers and all that to kind of get them all excited because, you know, dudes are different than offensive dudes, and they got to get all jacked up and ready to go. So I'm sure whatever the Pitt's going to show their people Friday night, we gave them a really good highlight. And they're playing with a lot of confidence, and it's just a really good football team. I got a lot of respect for Pat Narduzzi. Got to know him. I've known him over a decade. Kind of fun story. He won the Broyles Award in 2013, I believe, and he and I were there together. That's when we first met. He was at Michigan State as the DC, and I was the guy who didn't need to be there, but I was there. And we got to know each other then, and then over the years have kept in touch, talked a few times even about some jobs potentially, and then at Miami we played him twice. The consistency he's had at Pitt is really impressive.
Yeah, and they did have a down year last year, but he has made a huge turnaround this year, obviously, to where they are, and a lot of it's been done with the quarterback, obviously, that he brought in
it's kind of like talking about Kevin with the turnover situation. You got to trust who he's shown over time, not one moment. They won 20 games in the 2 years previous to last year, and they're undefeated this year. I think last year's the exception. Pat knows how to coach football, and what he's done as a defensive coach is he's had the self-confidence in himself to go out and hire a really good coordinator who plays up tempo. They're similar to us on offense. They stretch the field vertically. They run it. They throw it. They play fast. This will be the fastest offense we've played all year in terms of our opponents. And for a defensive coach to do that and still have great defense, I think says a lot about him and just his belief in what they do.
Yeah, he brought in Cade Bell as his offensive coordinator from Western Carolina. I know he brought in a few players like Desmond Reed, the running back.
Yeah, and Eli Holstein.
Yeah, and Holstein, the transfer from Alabama. Tell us about it. It looks like, by the way, he's going to be cleared to play. There was some question about him after he took a shot late in the fourth quarter the other night. Tell us about him, 1,800 yards, 17 touchdowns, and he's the second leading rusher on the team.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of similarities in these two teams when you really look at it from a defensive standpoint, offensively as well. But, you know, the quarterback makes everything go, and he's done that for them. And this is probably the second time since Pat's been there. I know they had Kenny Pickett a few years ago when we played it, that he's had a quarterback like this that has got championship caliber talent. He can run it. He can throw it. I mean, he's got a big arm. He can throw it deep. He can get out quick. And you just watch him. He plays with an edge and a confidence you want your quarterback to play with. So he's the straw that stirs the drink, and they've got a pretty good drink going right now.
Of course, Pat coaches up the defense over there. They do it similar ways like around here. They're tied with SMU for second in the country with 4 defensive touchdowns. They're 11th in sacks. They've got 10 interceptions, and they're second only to SMU stopping the run this year.
Yeah, well, that's what they do. They stop the run, they get after the quarterback. And so, again, there's similar philosophies on what we're trying to do. Very different than what we saw last week. We thought we could run the ball. They stop the run. Doesn't mean you can't be balanced and don't try to be, but no. And Pat's always been that way. They create a lot of negative plays, a lot of sacks. If they get to third down, especially third and long, it can get pretty scary. And then of course what you saw last week, when you have that kind of identity and mentality, you create tips and interceptions and fumbles, and it just can snowball. And right now for them, that's our biggest challenge, is to make sure that what we did last week and what they've been doing doesn't carry over into Saturday night.
They're ranked 18th. You're ranked 20th. We talked about this at the start of the season, making the move to the ACC. Mm-hmm. These are the kind of things we wanted, right? This is big-time football coming to Ford Stadium Saturday.
This is what we wanted. We wanted a top 20 matchup in Ford Stadium in November with a lot on the line. And, it's just one game, and we got to focus on that game. But I did see the stat today. It's been since 1967 that 4 ACC teams are undefeated in conference play going into November. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're one of them.
Yeah, of course, Miami and Clemson, the other 2. And finally at home.
Whew.
Only been over a month.
September 28th is a long time ago.
It is. And since 2019, SMU 27-5 at home. That's been building quite, of course, pretty good on the road too. With 8 straight, 9 straight. I think we've won on the road, but that's a pretty good little run at home here in the last 5+ years.
Ford Stadium, it's a place we love to play at home. It's been a place we've been, obviously, to your point, successful over the last 5 or 6 so years. But you just look back. I mean, our last 2 home games, TCU and Florida State, were incredible atmospheres. For our student tickets to sell out in 19 minutes.
Yeah.
I think you either have hit a sellout or we're really close to hitting a sellout. Don't worry. The weather's going to avoid us. That's how Dallas works. If you don't like the weather, just wait 10 minutes, pray a little bit. It'll go the other way. So probably will rain Saturday, just not Saturday night at 7 to 10. And can't wait to be in Ford Stadium with our crowd.
It'll be better than the last time Pitt came to Dallas.
Didn't we win the last time they came to Dallas?
Yeah, but
it can't be any better unless we win.
Well, I'm just saying weather.
Oh yeah, I heard that was cold.
It was cold and sleeting in the '83 Cotton Bowl.
I don't know if Dan Marino's coming to town, but I do know Eric Dickerson's going to be here. So.
Awesome. That was a big moment with a 7-3 win in a different era of football for sure.
Hey,
in 1983.
We'll take 7-3 Saturday as well.
Last time we saw him was another bowl game, too. The Compass Bowl in 2012 was also an SMU win. All right, well, I know we're all looking forward to it. Saturday night, 7 o'clock, ACC Network TV-wise, 96.7, 1310, the ticket radio-wise. We're off next week from a game, but we do have a show, so be sure you're here to join us next Wednesday night, 7 o'clock at Ozona Grill and Bar. Coach, appreciate it, and
appreciate you.
Looking forward to another big one this Saturday
night. Go Mustangs.
Night.
Let's go.
All right, and thanks for everybody for joining us once again for the Pony Express Show with Rhett Lashley.
The Pony Express Show with head coach Rhett Lashley has been presented by SMU Cox School of Business, your ally for life, and hosted at Ozona Grill and Bar on Greenville Avenue. Find your comfort zone. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Mustangs Sports Network.